Yeah. Yeah, I hope this fucking pissing me off. Shop Talk with Drew at Yahoo.com. We're live. We're live. I'm gonna cut this shit out. Just cut it out. And it's starting to make me mad, all these different levels. We're peaking everywhere. I'm tired of making excuses for it. So I got some new gear coming. And hopefully a little bit better of a sound. And let's get right into it. Booth Junkie on YouTube. I've looked into a lot of different things, a lot of different videos he has, and a lot of the ideas that I had that I wanted to do as far as different gear and everything, and to use it for the podcast. I've changed my mind on it, and that's a lot. It goes out to Booth Junkie, and you should definitely check out his YouTube channel. The Owens Corning stuff. I could go on and on, but I really appreciate him having his channel out there and saving me a ton of money. Because I originally wanted to go with the Shure SM7, just like Michael Jackson. But, and also to search this channel, you might have to put in Shop Talk, and you might have to put my full name, which is Andrew Edwards, because for some reason it doesn't search under Drew. And so my RSS feed, if you know anything about podcasting, it may change. So some of my subscribers, I hope that doesn't affect them at all. I really don't want to start over fresh again. And getting some of the other stuff out of the way. The Pawnshop quote of the day. Definitely have to be a guy named Irv Smith. I might have said this on a previous podcast, but he said that your profit is based upon your purchase. So when you purchase an item, not necessarily the least amount that you put into it, but you got to know what you're selling too, especially if you're selling on eBay or anything like that. You have to know what you're selling, whether you're selling gold, guitars, memorabilia. Memorabilia is one thing you don't really want to get into, that or selling, cards with signatures and shit on them, because 90% of that stuff's fake. And it's not authenticated. There's tons of stuff. Just know what you're selling if you are buying and reselling. Because if you don't, you're screwed. Especially if you're just out there. I mean, I used to go to a lot of thrift stores and stuff like that trying to find stuff. And I did. One time I bought it's not Roland. It was before Roland, and I can't think of it off the top of my head. But the company before them, back in the 70s, they had these little rhythm sampler composer things, like a drum machine. And I paid $2.12 or something like that for it. And I sold it for $112 and some odd cents. But they were going for like $250. Oh, the company's Ace or Ace Tone, one or the other. We'll get into different companies and stuff like that as time goes on. But I've got the old 69 Princeton going again today. I realized on the last podcast, though, the Crate Vintage Club 20 was really noisy. That could also have been the pickups in this. I need to restring the Powerhouse Strat guitar, and I just keep putting it off. Got all these different stuff going on. And hell, I stayed up till 9:30 in the morning watching WWF Royal Rumbles, which I'm not big on that kind of stuff. That's from my childhood, that's for sure. But I tell you what, if I got a problem, I watch that stuff. The Royal Rumbles, 30-man Royal Rumbles. All my problems seem to go away. Of course, at 6, 7, 8 in the morning, I can't sleep because I'm stressed out. Or whatever. Whatever does the trick for you. Eminem likes comic books and cartoons. Whatever takes you out of reality. And I got a lot of good things coming my way and my family's way. I had the kids over this weekend. Yes. Got 3 children and a newer born baby. He's like 5 months corrected. That stays here all the time. So, hell, they're all the way upstairs in the bedrooms. And I'm down here in the man cave. And I've got some different things in the works. I'll go back to Booth Junkie real quick. I was going to go with, it is some Owens Corning stuff, just for, to help out the room, make it sound a little bit better. Hell, I'm around Cinder Block. I've had people say maybe there's some PreSonus preamplifier maybe I should go with. If you got any insight to that or even any other questions or anything like that, you could always reach me at Shop Talk. Shop Talk with Drew at yahoo.com. And we'll get right into it. I know that took a while. Sorry we're wasting your time. NBA, you got Kyrie Irving out for the rest of the season with knee surgery. Well, he was going to have knee surgery anyways if he would have stayed in Cleveland. That was his threat to the... And, I actually honestly love him as a player, love watching him play, and I love the Celtics. Fun, young team to watch. I can't wait to see where they're going to go, especially now with him out. The playoffs coming up. Cleveland's only got 2 games left in the regular season. And, Tyronn Lue's back on the bench. And what a comeback for the Cavs against the Wizards the other night. I missed the one game. I think it was against the Raptors. I can't remember. And it was the night that I recorded the previous podcast because I was so fucking pissed. But, what can you do? We're in Columbus. We're not in Cleveland, so I can't complain too much. John Wall's back with the Wizards. Both conferences are in the race for the playoffs. I mean, all these teams are super tight for the, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 seeds. I mean, they're all tight. So later that night, of course, I stayed up real late, and I was watching ESPN, and I couldn't figure out the announcer. It's not Jeremy Shep. But it was on TNT, but I think it was ESPN on TNT. It's the real short guy. I mean, he's real short. He's got to be like 5'5" at best. Maybe. Always real well-dressed. But, all these commentators, they make mistakes. And he was commentating some game. But it was replay. It wasn't during the game. He said something to the effect of the Warriors' defense wouldn't quit or stop. I don't even remember. But to be honest with you, I remember that it was the other team that wouldn't stop. And usually it's Marv Albert that makes the most mistakes, especially while calling a game. And he'll call a game, and there'll be other people either on the bench or not even in the game or on the other side of the court. And he'll call them by another team member's name. But, he'll never correct himself, which I think is hilarious. I mean, he's a shitbag anyway, so why do I really even care? But I love it when the sport commentators make mistakes. And a lot of the guys for Fox Sports Ohio, Austin Carr, and I can't remember his name, but he's a great announcer, the white dude. They don't make too many mistakes, and when they do, they actually do correct themselves. And they do play them a lot on national TV, a lot of the highlights and stuff with Austin Carr, throw the hammer down, and all this different shit. But, Marv Albert makes probably the most mistakes. And where are we at? Well, that's nice. I apologize for that. Sorry about that. So in the world of guitars, the other night I was watching some old Slaughter studio footage. Great band, underrated band, studio band. They were put together. But I seen some Robin guitars. The Robin Ranger. I think Mark Slaughter was playing it on Fly to the Angels. Excuse me because I didn't do my homework enough. But their lead guitar player, which I believe he passed away 10 years ago, maybe longer, 8 years ago, died in a car wreck. Very underrated guitar player. When I was young, I was naive, and for some reason I thought he was the drummer, and the drummer was the guitar player. I don't know why I thought that. But then I got older. But anyways, I think he was playing, and it was close to it. I was looking at him on eBay. The Robin Medley guitar. Now, I'm a traditional Strat guy, but this is more of an 80s guitar, and a reverse headstock, Floyd Rose, slanted pickups. The treble and the middle pickup were slanted. Were they? Yep, slanted just like this guitar. A la Steve Stevens. Really cool guitars. Check out Robin's guitars. And I probably should have looked to see if they're still around because I'm supposed to know that kind of shit. But I don't see a whole lot of them. But a few years ago, my buddy, he picked up one or two. And I'm sure he picked them up because they were super cheap. Got them on a good deal on eBay or something like that because that's how he is. And that's how I am. But he's a big Kendrick guy. But he picked up a couple of those guitars and started playing them. And it's probably because they went out of favor or something, and then he got a good deal on them, blah, blah, blah. I just had my auction end tonight. And hell, I don't even know if I'm going to sell it to him or send it to him. Let's put it that way. It was on my Techniques 1200. I can get some more money for it, but I haven't bought furniture for around the place in a while, and I got some of these other purchases coming up. And we'll check out, maybe not that on the next podcast, but maybe the following, because I got to set all this shit up. And then also, you'll be able to definitely hear a sound difference. Like right now, I can tell there's a shit ton of sound coming through, and I don't even understand why. Not that. Let me turn that back up. Ton of interference. Oh, there we go. Shitty cables. That just goes to show. You can ruin your whole recording right there. I still hear a little noise, but it's not as bad. These are these $9 cables, but you know what? It's making a lot of this stuff possible right now. So I got a little mixer coming in the mail, and probably a different mic. I've decided on a certain mic. Anyways, that's irrelevant. Book of the week. We got Bob Odenkirk, one of my favorite actors / comedians. It's called A Load of Huey. And I bought this book a couple years ago. Probably 2.5 years ago. Really good. A bunch of short stories. A lot of them are fictitious or whatever. I didn't know this. He was a writer for like 15 years on SNL. Now, don't quote me on that. But he's the star of Better Call Saul, one of my favorite shows, and also Breaking Bad. He is Saul Goodman, the attorney. Hold on just a second. Or as the millennials say, BRB. If you're ever working with them, they're going to go take a smoke break and they go, BRB. Yeah, fuck you. Don't even tell me. I don't care. Go take your smoke break. I'll take mine. I'm not going to ask you or tell you when I'm going to take one. Ay. So, we're going to go on to what's for dinner. We're gonna go back to the reverse seared steaks, and I've talked about this in previous podcasts. You're gonna you want a steak that's at least like 1.5 inches thick, maybe even thicker, to do these with, to get them correctly. And to be honest with you, I've never really ever overdone them. To really cook the shit out of them, to overdo them. But what you want to do, before I even add any seasoning or anything like that, I pat each side of the steak dry. Yeah, it might look like a lot of blood, blah, blah, blah. Well, that's what you want it to look like. And you can season it with salt, and I do before, but I don't season it with salt or season it with pepper because the pepper will actually burn, and you don't want it to burn because then that'll be a bitter, if you ever burnt garlic or anything like that, be a very bitter taste. And the last time I did these, I did them with T-bone steaks that were actually on sale at our local grocery store. It's called Kroger, if you're on the West Coast. It's not Ralph's. But something similar to that. These were actually really good cuts. We got a really good deal on them. Usually these are at least $10 a piece, if not more. You could also check out some of the places where you get bone-in steaks, or they call them meat packing plants on the East Coast. That's what you're going to want to look for. At least an 8-ounce steak, and I believe, I can't remember if they sold 6 or 8-ounce steaks the last meat packing plant I was at, but it was right next to the Pawnshop I worked at for years. Still there. They were there before the Pawnshop. But you can get good cuts of meat that way that are cheap. But instead of, a lot of people will cook them indirect on their grill, where you light one side and you keep the other side unlit. You can do it with charcoal or gas, and then either way, you would want to somehow elevate the steaks. What I like to do, you're going to want to use a grate, not a grill grate, but like a cookie sheet grater, to have that spacing in there. And then I like to put I don't put it on a cooking sheet. I put it on one that's a little bit thicker, and it doesn't sit on there exactly the same because I want it so far away from the heat. But you're going to want to cook it at least, on a grill, I would go a little higher, 300, 325. I go 275 in the oven for 40 to 45 minutes. And that's what I went 45 minutes last time with them. But then after you do that, of course, you want to flip them halfway through. You're going to want to cook them direct. A lot of this stuff has been very trendy for the last few months. I mean, it started about 3 years ago, but it's been very trendy the last few months. And these guys will get the charcoal grills, and they actually there's a company out there, and I can't think of their name, but you can actually take it. It's made for a Weber, and you can spin it, I should say, from one side to the other. So you're cooking direct, because you're cooking indirect for that 45 minutes, and you want to be at I think 130 degrees internal temperature, 125, and then that actually might be a little high, might be more like 120. Either way, I've done this numerous different ways. But before you cook them direct, what I like to do, since olive oil has a higher burning point than your heating point than a canola oil or anything like that, which I usually cook with canola oil because I don't want it to taste bitter. I don't want it to be overdone. I actually go with the olive oil on this one, and just rub it on each side. And then that's when I add, if I'm going to add pepper or your Montreal steak or anything like that. And usually we're going to use Montreal steak. Now, a quick tip that you could use on your gas grill, you could, and this is what I've done numerous times, because when you're going from 275 in an oven, or you're going, 300 on the grill, indirect, on the opposite side of the grill, those wire racks that you have, you never want to get them hot, and that's the key to a reverse seared steak. And I guarantee if you do this once or twice, You'll never cook steak another way unless it's a cheap-ass steak. And at that point, who wants to eat it anyways? Because I don't. And I won't. I've already decided that in my head. But you're going to want it piping hot, like 500 degrees. Now, depending on how thick the steak is how long you're going to want to cook it. But you're going direct, but you're on a wire rack separate from the grill rack. So what you can do is heat up one side, flaming hot. And then right before you put them on, turn on the side that wasn't on. Or if you have a 4-burner, that's even better. Because you have more options. So you can heat it further down, or the two ones further down, or heat up the whole thing. But you want that grill grate that is in there to get cool. And if there's separate grates in there, that's even better because they're going to cool faster. The grill grates that are connected are going to, of course, pick up the heat from the other end of the grill. But usually you don't have to go very long, like 3 minutes. You don't want to get, some people call it like white heat or white kiss or whatever. You don't want that yellow flame to actually be touching the steak. The grill marks aren't going to be as harsh or anything like what they normally are when you cook steak on there, but that's fine because when you cut it open, it's going to be like a perfect medium rare. And you're going to have a nice crisp crust on the other side. And what I like to do is I get like a minute and a half. I used to watch this Barbecue U guy on, he still has a show on YouTube now, but he had a show on PBS or whatever, Barbecue University. But, he would say quarter turn, 90-degree turn, whatever. But what I'll do is I'll do the one side of it for, a minute and a half. Not flip it, but turn it 90 degrees. Get the other side, or I guess that would be a 180. Then flip it. It's all methodical. You all figure it out. Again, I hope I got some better audio. I'm sick and tired of complaining about it. You heard it here tonight. And to all my subscribers and listeners, I want to thank everybody for listening and add a good review if you get a chance, get some extra time, and like and subscribe. Hope you guys have a good week. I'm going to try to put something out at least every Sunday because I figured why not?